Once upon a time, in a quaint little village nestled among ancient woods, there lived a wise old woman named Eleanor. Her small cottage overflowed with the soothing aroma of herbs and the warm glow of candlelight. Eleanor's life was peaceful, but her heart carried a profound empathy and curiosity for the world's mysteries, traits that made her beloved by the villagers. They often came to her for remedies, advice, or simply a comforting story by her crackling hearth. Yet, even in her wildest dreams, Eleanor could never have imagined what lay ahead. One moonlit night, as Eleanor rested in her cozy bed, a strange ethereal glow seeped through her windows. It wasn't the familiar moonlight, but something far more magical. A gentle breeze carrying the faintest sound of music brushed against her face. Before she could stir fully awake, she felt herself lifted as if by invisible hands. Fear gripped her at first, but it melted into awe as she was enveloped in shimmering lights that twinkled like stars. When Eleanor opened her eyes, her breath caught in her throat. She stood in the heart of a magnificent fairyland, a realm where every tree sparkled with dew like diamonds, and flowers sang sweet melodies. It was a world alive with wonder and magic, and at its center stood the resplendent queen of the fairies. Her gown, woven from moonbeams and stardust, glimmered with an otherworldly light. Her presence was both commanding and kind. "Wise Eleanor," the queen began, her voice like a song, "forgive us for bringing you here without warning. My daughter, the fairy princess, is to be wed, and we find ourselves in need of your mortal wisdom to prepare for this joyous day. Will you lend us your aid?" Eleanor's heart swelled with pride and trepidation. Though overwhelmed, she met the queen's gaze and replied, "It would be my honor, your majesty. Tell me what I must do." The fairies led Eleanor through their enchanting realm, showing her the preparations for the grand event. Every task was infused with magic, but it lacked the grounding touch of human wisdom. Eleanor threw herself into the work with fervor. She designed a wedding dress fit for a princess, using petals that glowed softly in the dark and threads spun from golden sunlight. She crafted a feast that blended magical fairy fruits with her knowledge of herbs, creating dishes that sparkled and tasted of dreams. She taught the fairies ancient songs from her world, melodies that stirred the heart and brought tears of joy. When the wedding day arrived, the fairyland was transformed into an unparalleled vision of splendor. The princess, radiant in her gown, glided down an aisle of flowers that bloomed with every step she took. Her groom, a dashing fairy prince, could not take his eyes off her. Eleanor's chest swelled with pride as she watched the union of two souls surrounded by love, magic, and beauty. After the festivities, the queen approached Eleanor with gratitude shining in her eyes. "Wise Eleanor," she said, "your kindness and wisdom have made this day unforgettable. As a token of our thanks, we offer you these gifts." The queen presented a chest adorned with glowing runes. Inside were treasures beyond Eleanor's imagination, rare gems that pulsed with an inner light, a golden comb that granted clarity and wisdom to its user, and a cloak imbued with enchantments to shield its wearer from harm. The queen placed a gentle hand on Eleanor's shoulder and said, "May these gifts serve you well in your mortal world." As the first light of dawn touched the fairyland, the fairies gently carried Eleanor back to her cottage. She woke in her familiar bed, her room filled with the faint scent of magic. For a moment she wondered if it had all been a dream, but there beside her was the chest of treasures, shimmering softly in the morning light. Tears of gratitude welled in her eyes. From that day on, Eleanor's life was forever changed. The villagers noticed her newfound glow and marveled at her even greater wisdom. She carried the memory of the fairy queen and her magical realm in her heart, a secret she cherished as a source of endless inspiration and joy.